Okay, listen. You can, if you want to, you can talk to people until you're blue in the face about the national debt and how it's really unsustainable. But sometimes you have to show them because people don't react until they see it for themselves. So we're going to show you what the national debt is. We're going to show you what Doge is doing. We're going to show you GDP. We're going to show you some historical data today. We're going to show you why the nation needs this medicine that Trump and Musk are giving it. The sad part is it needs a lot more than they could possibly do before Doge sunsets, and it's going to sunset. I believe it sunsets next July. The country needs a lot more than that, and the medicine is going to be bitter. It's going to be unpleasant. It's going to be greasy, oily, and nasty, but it's going to be incredibly necessary. So we're going to show you why right now. This is the U.S. debt clock. You can have it. You can see it for yourself at usdebtclock.org. And we see in the upper left-hand corner the U.S. national debt. It's 36 trillion. And if you're not good at numbers, that number way over there is in 36. It's in the trillions spot. 36,522,756,000,000. That's the number. If you're looking for the deficit right now, $2 billion or $2 trillion. And if you look at what Doge is doing, you see the Doge clock. The Doge clock is barely at $133 billion, which is not very much. So to hear all of this insanity about, I mean, absolute insanity about what Doge is doing and the damage they're causing and all that nonsense, is just nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's outrageous. Like they're not even scraping the surface. They're not even approaching taking care of the interest at $133 billion so far. That is outrageous. And what's happened to our country and our financial house in the past 50 or 60 years is treason. It's treasonous. Absolutely treasonous. I know that sounds hyperbolic, but I can't come up with any better word. If you were trying to destroy a nation, if you were trying to bring a nation to its knees, you would put a anchor of just incurable debt around it. It would eventually just implode. It would just self-destruct, and we are headed down that very road. We are headed down that very road where it is simply going to, at some point, just self-destruct. There isn't any way, there is no way at all to keep this up. Look at those numbers. If we look at what our debt was to our gross domestic product and the percentages over time, we looked at like 1960s over here. We're talking about 53%. In 1980s it was like 39%. In 2000 about 59%. And now we're talking about 123%. 123%. I mean, it's incredible. 123%. The debt to our gross national product. That is that we owe twice the amount of money than we produce. How does anybody keep that up? How would you keep that up in your house if you owe twice what you make? Twice what you make. How many months do you survive? How many months? 2? 2, 3, maybe. Because the first month you owe $1,000, but you only pay $500. Remember, you still owe $500. The next month you pay all of your money, and now you owe $1,000. You still owe $1,000, and then $1,500, and it just keeps going. And that's where we are. That is where we are. So Doge needs to happen. I got great news today that my governor here in the state of Florida is starting a Florida sort of Doge program here to make the state more efficient. Now, while I'm watching this on YouTube, I see the comments. God, I hate comments so much. I see the comments, and the comments are going by, you need to make homeowners insurance less expensive, blah, 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 all these things. And what came to me was, just because, and on a national picture, it's the same deal. Just because government is made more efficient, that doesn't necessarily mean that my life is going to be less expensive. Those things don't necessarily intersect. My tax bill may be lower, and that's important, but my life, the price of eggs, won't necessarily be cheaper. The price of homeowners insurance won't necessarily be cheaper. The price of of car insurance won't necessarily be any cheaper. The price for a new car may not be cheaper. Listen, in 2000, I believe that the average price for a new car was around $22,000. It's now $48,000, the average new car. For all sorts of reasons, I said to myself, I'm never going to own a new car. Depreciation is one of them for sure. And the complexity of driving them and getting them serviced and repaired is just expensive. So it isn't that just it costs $48,000. It's that all the stuff you have to do. So I promised myself a long time ago that I would never, even if I could, buy a new car. I would always buy a previously owned vehicle. And now, that's my market. And that's a lot of people's market. But the work that Doge is doing isn't going to make that better for me. I understand that. But if I don't have a country that functions, that can field a military, that can deal with interstate commerce, which is kind of the thing they're supposed to be doing, because we owe so much money and we owe so much interest on the debt and the people who hold our debt. We don't hold our own debt. People that who don't necessarily consider us as allies hold a large portion of our debt. And if you go to usdebtclock.org, it'll show you how much China. We are beholden to China, and how that number is continuing to increase. My friends, if there are people who are upset somehow about what Doge is doing, what we need to do is tell them to have a seat. We need to tell them to have several seats. Because this medicine, this castor oil, this cod liver oil, those are two of the worst things, other than kerosene. Yes, my grandmother gave me a spoonful of kerosene and a spoonful of sugar when I had a cough once. It didn't really cure my cough, but it kept me from coughing, because I would bust a lung, have an eye pop out before I would cough again in that house. I don't think that woman, for the rest of her life, ever heard me cough. Ever. Cough, clear my throat. Never. So between the cod liver oil, the castor oil, the kerosene, petroleum product, kerosene, eating a spoonful of Vicks Vapor Rub. Can you see why I wasn't scared of COVID? I was not afraid of COVID. Yeah. Anyway, but this medicine that this nation needs so much, and the courage that Donald Trump has by actually doing this. Now, when these people say this or that about Donald Trump and Elon Musk, let's go back to some facts. First of all, Donald Trump's got his own money. Donald Trump, actually, the last time he was in office, his net worth actually went down. Where we have people like Nancy Pelosi and AOC and Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters, where they make $174,000 a year, and they're worth millions. AOC, had this big brouhaha about the published. Somebody tweeted that she was worth $20 million. I'm not worth $20 million. I'm like, okay, if she's worth $5 million, remember this is the same woman who, when she got to Washington, she said, I can't afford an apartment here. I can't afford to live here. And I think that she went and she roomed with, I don't know, I think it was Nancy Pelosi for a bit until she found her own place. But now, even if she's worth $5 million, which is 25% of what people say that she's worth. If she's worth $1 million, she's only been in Congress 3 years. How do you turn $174,000 a year minus expenses into $1 million? Even if it's $1 million, how's that possible? And these are the people who are complaining and whining that Donald Trump is greedy and Elon Musk is greedy. So Trump finds Elon Musk. Trump's got 4 years to brood and figure it out. See, I think that Trump knew, I'm coming back. I'm doing it again. I think the day that he left Washington, the day that he came back here to Florida to Mar-a-Lago, in his brain he's like, we're doing this again, and we're doing it differently. And he came back with a furor, and he came back with a furor and a viciousness and a focus unseen. And now he's sitting in the White House. And he had a chance to look around and go, who can I get to... And he saw this dude, Elon Musk. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I did this on a TikTok video today, Elon Musk is a weird dude. Weird affectation. Weird dude. Super smart. Built a car company from the ground. From the ground up. Went to Twitter and said, we're going to turn it back into a technology company. Than what it was. It was an advocacy group, social media. We turn it back into a technology company. And went in and fired 80% of the people. And people's hair was on. They were on fire. Their hair was on fire. Oh, Twitter's dead, man. He's good. He's fine, everybody. He fired all the people who didn't have anything to do with the website. Oh, by the way, Twitter is a website, by the way. Did you know that? Did Elon Musk have to remind you that Twitter is just a website? Twitter is a website in the very same way fightbackmedia.com is a website. A website in the very same way that fightbackmedia.com is a website. It's x.com. It was twitter.com. X is just a website. And the important part of X, Twitter, is the website. Not the other stuff. Not the advocacy. Not the DEI. None of that stuff's really important to making sure the website's up all the time. The website's the only thing there that makes money. So, if you're not attached to the website in some way or the other that's important, keeping the website going, then you're out. And that's what he did. So Trump finds this Musk guy after he sees what he does at Twitter and goes, I wonder if I could use him to do the very same thing with the federal government. And of course, Elon says, hell yeah, let's do this. Using the same people, the same kind of people, the people who run his website, people who are into it. And what I learned when I was at Florida State University about people who are tech heads, the techies, where most of them were young, most of them were not, in the suit and ties. They were not. They were young. They were unkempt. The whole nine. They were a different breed. Completely different set of dudes. And girls. Not as many then as there are now. But they were all young. They were all young. There weren't any 30 or 40-year-olds in the group. They were all young. And those are the same kind of people that would have seen Elon as a role model and gravitated to Elon. And that's why you see the 19-year-olds and the 20-year-olds and the 23-year-olds who are part of Doge who are doing this work. They love it. And they love that Elon sleeps on the floor in one of the buildings because they're working 24/7 because they have a deadline. Doge is not a federal agency that's going to make money forever. That they're going to sit in now. That's not it. It's going to sunset. I believe it sunsets in July of next year. Not this year, but next year. That's our 250th anniversary as a country, I believe. So I think that's when it sunsets. So they've got to get to work. And you see right now, they've only been able to eliminate $133 billion in frivolous, ridiculous spending. They have a lot of work to do in the next year. A lot. And I pray that they get it done. And what I pray for even more is that you do not lose hope. That you can fight through the turbulence, because there's going to be turbulence. There's going to be people, there's going to be lawsuits. There's already lawsuits. There's already 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lawsuits already. And more importantly, we need you. We need people like us to get on our Congress critters and go, why are you fighting? Why are you fighting this? Why are you fighting making government cheaper and more efficient? Why are you fighting it? Tell them in no uncertain terms, Kathy Castor, you are on the wrong side. Maxine Waters, you are on the wrong side again. Chuck Schumer, you're on the wrong side. Nancy Pelosi, you're on the wrong side. AOC, you're on the wrong side. Ilhan Omar, you are on the wrong side. The idea for a lot of us is to not grow the size of government, but to shrink it. And in shrinking it, you have to shrink some of the people too. It's a hard fact. It's a hard reality. It's a hard saying, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. Yes, displacing people is always hard. It's always hard. But if you're going to accomplish that goal and you're serious about it, then that's part of what you have to do. Don't you think? Tell me what you think. Write it in the comments. My name is Willie Lawson. This is The Morning Report. The Morning Report, again, is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.
Welcome to The Morning Report, a production of FightBackMedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.